My wife will soon start cheating on me. What should I do? Sorry, this ended up being long. I married my wife for 4 years. She recently had a career change and was accepted into the local firefighter academy. She has been in school for about 2 months. My wife is extremely gregarious and also very bro, meaning she can well hold her own with typical guy topics like football, UFC, fitness, etc., and loves the culture of sarcasm and SHT talking. She has always been immediately accepted into guy friend groups, and frankly, she has loved having dozens of new best friends, most of whom are dudes. Her 30th birthday is coming up in early September, so I decided I wanted to throw her a big surprise party. The majority will be friends we already have, but I wanted to invite at least a few of her firefighter classmates. I've barely met any of them, so I decided to snoop on her phone to 1. Get a good idea of who she's closest with, and 2. Steal their contact information to secretly invite them. Since starting the academy, she's been texting on her phone more frequently, which I thought was normal considering the dozens of new people in her life and how social she is. Well, at least for the past week or so, a majority of her texts have been going to just one individual. We'll call him D. The wife and D appear to text each other very frequently. They aren't allowed phones during school hours, but as soon as it's after hours, the texting starts up all the way until they go to bed. While most of the texting is just friendly with inside jokes, D has very clearly been flirting with wife and wanting to spend more time in person with her. Wife thankfully has not yet reciprocated in the flirting, instead acting dumb as if she's oblivious, and they're just good friends. Some of the more egregious exchanges, just from the past week. 1. D asked wife to rate her looks. She said 6 out of 10, maybe a 6.5. He jokes that maybe only if she was rating her left side and that she's selling herself short and that she's at least an 8 out of 10. 2. At a group study session recently, apparently wife acted as a pillow to D while the group ended the night watching a movie. They texted about being affectionate people and enjoying being touched. 3. He texted her at 2 a.m. one night, saying hello. Apparently, he couldn't sleep and decided to text someone's wife. 4. Part of the academy fitness portion is something similar to jiu-jitsu, rolling, or wrestling. The wife has a lot of experience with this. They joke about practicing this outside school, with him making comments about seeing who can hold the other down. Also, some comments about being forced to share secrets, specifically through tickling each other, or, in his specific words, getting her to spill the juice. 5. He said she makes a cute face when she crinkles her nose, but then said he feels weird saying that. Why? I thought you might possibly construe it as weird since you're married. The wife responds, okay, we're friends, and friends use cute all the time. Well, this coming Saturday, they're planning to hang out and study some together, and it seems like D very well might make a move. Here's their exchange, word for word. D, let's do Saturday for sure, then. Little bit of studying. Most likely a movie, some tussles, and whatever else may happen. Wife, study and movie sound good. Tussling is a given with how much SHT you talk. What else would happen? D, listening to music and being pillows again. Just a blanket statement for anything. D, also, don't forget to bring comfy clothes if you want to shower before. Or don't bring clothes and wear something nifty of mine. Haha. And that leads us to now. I have no idea what to do. I deeply love my wife and am absolutely shocked to discover this. I don't expect her to make moves on D, but I honestly don't know how she'll respond to him making a move on her. Knowing her, she genuinely believes they're just friends, but I'm sure subconsciously she is enjoying the attention. I'm tempted to call her out now and put a stop to it early, but I guarantee she'll claim ignorance and say I'm paranoid and maybe even controlling. If I wait and let things happen, I obviously risk being cheated on, but the reward is having much stronger evidence and being able to end things immediately. What's the best way to proceed here? Update. Warning, this got long. Too complicated for a TLDR. Thursday night, I couldn't sleep with everything on my mind, so I decided to get up at 1 a.m. and check her texts to see the updates from that day. I've been doing this by checking iMessages through her laptop once she left for work in the morning. Well, the exchanges with D managed to get significantly worse. He made a "not the only thing that's hard" joke. Somehow this turned into him admitting he gets a natural response when they hug or wrestle. He subtly jokes about the length of his D, and how he's only gotten partially erect. D, even though it's not little, it still didn't have much effect. This was a bit delayed and out of context, leading her to question what he was talking about. D, I guess you'll never know. Maybe Saturday. Until then, you're going to have to figure out the puzzle yourself. Wow, Saturday really is on. I'm crushed. Wife, if it isn't little, should I have noticed you having a natural reaction? Lol. Well, I think she solved the puzzle. Showering gets brought up again. They joke about how showering is better when properly accompanied. She says, I mean, you can definitely get some other things done. Well, that was it. I simply couldn't take it anymore. I went back to the bedroom, turned the lights on, and abruptly woke her up. "We need to talk, right now." We sat down, and I told her I had been reading her texts with D, and how this was strictly emotional infidelity soon turning into physical infidelity. I let her know I had already been in contact with a divorce lawyer, and may or may not be meeting with him this week, depending on how this plays out. She seemed genuinely shocked by all this, so much so that she started crying and having a panic attack, hyperventilating, and even running to go throw up in the bathroom. No, she was not putting on a show. We talked for a bit. She never tried denying my feelings, attacking me, or pretending she's the victim somehow. It took a lot of questioning to figure out why I believed all this. I told her my first demand was to have zero contact with D, unless absolutely needed for some reason during academy hours. I had drafted up a text earlier to suggest to her. She made some mild edits and sent it off right there. She also blocked his number in front of me. D has not attempted contact in any way, as best I can tell. While we weren't at all fixed yet, we were better enough to at least pause things and go back to bed. She was also notably fatigued and crippled from everything, so I knew we wouldn't progress until we both could breathe some. On Friday, we barely saw each other. Our work hours were nearly opposite, and I told her I was going solo to a friend's party that night to cool off some and be a little distracted from it all. She stayed home with the dog all night. We have cameras, yes, she did. On Saturday morning, we had a very long but calm talk. She seemed sincere, believing that in the moment, every exchange felt platonic and lighthearted. Like bro talk. We went through all the texts, and I think seeing them brought together finally started hitting her just how obvious his flirting was and how she was clearly green-lighting every further advance. She feels absolutely terrible for letting this happen, and she also feels remarkably stupid for not seeing any of it. She agrees that she was likely putting herself in a position for him to try and physically advance things next time they hung out. Claims it would have come as a complete surprise and would have shut him down. I think at this point it's mandatory that I give some major context on my wife. My wife is the youngest of 4, with 2 older brothers and 1 older sister. Her brothers were both college athletes. They loved hazing their youngest sister, and she grew up loving that dynamic back. Likewise, her father is a very traditional masculine man. He loved his daughters, but he definitely understood boys best. Her older sister was always the pretty and skinny one, often being beat to her younger sister and using frequent offhand comments to hurt her self-esteem when she was growing up. This led my wife to basically grow up thinking her identity was the really smart but chubby and ugly sibling. She focused on sports, being social, and absolutely killing it academically. She went to a very challenging high school and prided herself on taking as many AP classes as possible. In college, she joined a sorority entirely for the friendships and social activities. She disliked when they had to dress up, wear heels, and do other girly things. Her favorite events were always the crossover events with the frats, doing more generically fun group activities like food fights, competitions, drinking games, etc. If it weren't for being female, I think she would have honestly preferred joining a fraternity instead. She had a boyfriend in high school, but for the most part, I'm the only major relationship she's ever had. She did not grow up being flirted with. In college, she had guy friends, but they all knew and respected me as her boyfriend, and interactions with my wife that could be considered flirty were very clearly platonic. There was one time I saw my wife dancing with a guy friend at a party, and I had to tell her to cut it out. She apologized and said she didn't see it that way but has never done it since. Fast forward to now. My wife has lost significant weight. She works out and definitely has an athletic yet feminine physique. She takes care of her skin and actually wears makeup now. Despite all this, she still has incredibly low self-esteem. Likewise, her 2 previous jobs were very female-dominated, meaning she hasn't had a chance to be around fun men close to her age since, basically, college. Knowing all this and knowing my wife for about 11 years now, my gut says she's completely telling the truth. I have no reason to think she's lying. She's never lied to me or even tried. No, it's not that I just haven't caught her. Lying is just not a part of who she is. Reading her texts again, she never actively flirted with him. All of her responses feel like playing dumb and being coy to his advances, but frankly, I believe they were her literally being dumb. When she responded something like, "And what else would happen?" her brain literally meant, "Okay, cool, what else would happen?" When talking about his bones, she literally responded, "I'm a biology major. Natural reactions don't make me uncomfortable." I'm sure plenty of you reading this think I'm a complete idiotic chump falling for this. I get it. I really do. Outside, looking in, I would be thinking the exact same. Bro, he literally told her that he gets erections when they hug and joked that she'll find out how big it is on Saturday. What? Yup. She's literally that idiotic when it comes to male-female interactions. Oh, come on, man, no woman is that retarded. You're being played, open your eyes. I get it, and I see it. But I know my wife better than anyone, and I believe she's telling the absolute truth. Regardless, assuming she's being entirely truthful, I definitely have a massive task in changing how she perceives these kinds of exchanges. Preventing them entirely is the easiest way. We're establishing some rules and doing plenty of other things to help move forward. We'll be returning to couples therapy and reading Not Just Friends together, among other things. For the most part, we're in an infinitely better spot than we were late Thursday. Calm discussions, going out for a nice dinner, and lots of dirty makeup SX have put us in a pretty good spot. All things considered, I will leave you doubting this. I can't help but think her actions were approved of on a subconscious level to some extent. I've been reflecting on where I may be lacking in being the best man and husband I can possibly be. We are planning some changes there too. I wish all the best to those who followed along and offered me advice. Thanks everyone.